to chew on. The Lunchroom on RCI, Monday to Friday, 12:45 to 2 p.m. The Lunchroom, informative, enlightening, provocative, engaging. The Lunchroom on RCI, food for thought. The station that gives you, more lunch.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International. It is a brand new month. We're into the month of October. It is Wednesday, October 1st, 2025, and this is program number 1460 of the Lunchroom. I'm your host, Calix George Jr. In addition to Radio 101.1 FM, you can also get us at our website, rcistlucia.com. We are streaming live on YouTube as well as on Facebook. And you just have to search for the official page of Radio Caribbean International. And please be sure to like and share that as well with your friends and family. If you want to call in to tell us what's on your plate today, the number to do so is 452-3046. Again, 452-3046. WhatsApp number, that's always an option. You can call in to 724-0008. Again, 724-0008. Well, it's International Day for Older Persons. We want to congratulate all older persons. And, of course, we'll be speaking about that a little later on in our Dish of the Day. I want to send out some birthday greetings for today to Mr. McDonald Dixon. Happy birthday to you, sir. And wishing you an absolutely wonderful, restful, and happy birthday. Also sending birthday greetings out to Miss Jermaine Joseph. Happy birthday to you, Jermaine. And we do hope that you're enjoying your birthday. Hope it's a special one for you. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, look back in time. In the year 1814, on this day, the opening of the Congress of Vienna redrew Europe's political map after the defeat of Napoleon Bonaparte. In 1867, on this day, Karl Marx published Das Kapital in Berlin, Germany, describing the capitalist system, its instability, and its tendency towards self-destruction. In the year 1908, Henry Ford introduced the Model T car, and it was priced at just $825 at that time. 1918, during World War I, a combined Arab and British force led by the famous Lawrence of Arabia captured Damascus from the Ottoman Empire. And in 1988, on this day, October the 1st, Mikhail Gorbachev became chairman of the Presidium of the Supreme Soviet, effectively head of state of the Soviet Union. We now head across to our dish of the day.
Every bed in our hospitals tells a story of someone's mother, someone's brother, someone's friend. And when that story of care is complete, it's time for the next chapter, home. But too often, discharged patients are left waiting hours, days, weeks, sometimes months, not because they want to stay, but because no one comes. We understand life gets busy. But every extra day they wait means another patient, perhaps in pain, perhaps in crisis, can't get the bed they desperately need. So when the call comes that your loved one is ready, please be ready too. Pick them up, bring them back to the comfort of family, where healing truly continues. Because caring doesn't end at discharge, it continues with you. A message from the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs.
There is a rose in Spanish Harlem. You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you. If you like pina coladas, getting caught in the
We're back on Sunday, October 5th, the night before the holiday. We're heading to the Pavilion in Rodney Bay for the Big People Big People Party.
Big People Party.
The Sparkle and Denim Edition. Big People Party, the Sparkle and Denim Edition. It's old school, and we're turning it up. Music by Hyper D, Rusty Ranks, Shortman, Play in HD, and Sly Eli. Tickets are $60 and are available at RCI, The Cell, Boulevard, and Baywalk Mall. Pay more at the door. On Sunday, October 5th, it's Big People Party at the Pavilion in Rodney Bay. The night before the holiday. Lottie Dottie, see you at the party. Serving now, the Daily Dish.
And welcome back to the lunchroom at Radio Caribbean International. Now, as I mentioned earlier on, today is in fact the International Day for Older Persons. And I think that is a desire that we tend to look at, of course, in a very, very positive light. The idea of being able to live full lives, lives that would bring us right into our old age. And even that idea as to what is old, of course, has changed over time. And of course, how long people have lived has changed over time. Of course, there's been a lot of work that has been looked at over the years in terms of the historic trends with respect to how long people live. And even in the prehistory periods, thanks to archaeology and thanks to being able to do analyses, different dating systems, of course, we can see that generally speaking, people are living, far more people are living longer, healthier lives today than, say, 50 years ago, than, say, 100 years ago, and certainly even 1,000 years ago. We are generally living longer lives. Of course, there'll be some biblical individuals who may argue that, well, you know, back in the day of Moses and Adam and Eve, people were living for 1,000 years. Well, we haven't been able to see any of that, signs of any of that in terms of the archaeological record. But certainly what we do know is that about 100 years ago, people were not, on average, in 1900, the average life expectancy was in the vicinity of 32. Worldwide right now, the average life expectancy is in the 70s. I think it's in like 72 point something. And it is an interesting measure to look at in terms of the whole idea of quality of life. Of course, if people are dying younger, that is suggesting a lot of things at play, and that could be very, very concerning, particularly, of course, disease. And, of course, the disease burden over the years has certainly been what has meant that we have not been able to live very, very long lives. Something is out there killing us, and that has been a challenge. Of course, the other issues, of course, you had a lot of occupational issues that cause for people to die early in the past. Just imagine, you know, thousands of years ago where you would have to go out and hunt and find food, and we didn't have very complex food systems for protection, and the homes that we had were not as good as we have today. And so the impacts of nature really had a tremendous impact on life expectancy. People died because of starvation. They died because of not having a safe place to spend the winter, or those were the things that were really challenging our ancestors. So in this current era, we certainly are living longer lives. And of course, as a result of that, we are now seeing the challenges with respect to those long lives and what in fact comes to that. Of course, the advancements technologically overall certainly has made an impact, but certainly as well in the field of medicine over the past 120 or so years. It's tremendous advancements in the area of medicine, and of course, tremendous improvements in terms of being able to feed ourselves comfortably has also allowed for greater life expectancy. In the case of St. Lucia, we are still below the world average when it comes to life expectancy. I think we're just a little below that world average of the 70. I'll find the exact figure for you in a little. 73.17. When you are born, the average person in the world right now is expected to live to be 73.17 years. In St. Lucia right now, the average life expectancy is at 72.70. The countries that find themselves way up on the top of the list, and there are a lot of other countries in the Caribbean that are doing a little better. Barbados, for example, is the 90th in the world list at 76.18. Antigua and Barbuda 77.6. They are perhaps the highest in that list, of that world list. Puerto Rico, interesting enough as well, pretty high, 81.86. So the average Puerto Rican expected to live that long, which of course means that there are people who are going to be living beyond that age. And so, the idea, of course, that we are dealing with older societies, older people, is a really important aspect in terms of development, but it has its own challenges. Of course, on the top of the list, 84.71, well, second on the list, Japan. And it is one of those areas, parts of Japan, certain islands in Japan, I think like Okinawa, for example. There are these theories that these are blue zones, places in the world where people, because of their culture, their habits, what they eat, that type of living, in fact, allows for a very, very, very long life. And you see a very high proportion of persons who are centenarians, who are getting to be over 100. And certainly that is generally something that we admire, even from a religious perspective. You've got to talk about honoring your mother and your father because you will be able to get long life. And the idea, of course, that you're given 10 is what you're given in life, but you may expect some more. If you do, of course, that is a blessing. So we generally look at old age as a blessing, but of course it also does mean, though, that the quality of life for older persons is a really important issue. And the other matter, of course, is how do we ensure that seniors are playing active roles, active parts in society. So even the issue, of course, of what is a reasonable age of retirement is a very topical issue, and it is a very political issue in some countries. France, for example, has been seeing a major tussle over the matter of the retirement age. The idea of somebody retiring at 60 is perhaps going to become passé, as we see a number of countries having but no choice in response to the fact that people are living longer. They have to effectively increase that retirement age so as to be able to, balance out the longevity of the pension schemes that persons are accustomed to. Of course, it also there's an expectation that persons are going to be active for longer. So the idea when maybe by 60 you would have been on your way out. It means now persons are looking at 65, and who knows, some places 67, and we're going higher and higher with the matter of retirement. And even post retirement, whatever is that statutory age, what is the role then of individuals in society? How can they play a part in active an active part in society, and for their own good self as well, of course, because what we have seen, especially in dealing with neurodegenerative diseases like dementia, like Parkinson's, that some of these are very much tied to activity. And we quite often see that there is a drop in the outcome of an individual and how well that individual is when they get out of the workforce. So really, staying active, staying within the workforce, and even if you're not legally within the workforce, certainly playing a meaningful role within retirement is certainly something that has to be encouraged if we are to see healthy senior citizens. So the matter of aging is certainly a very important one from a number of different perspectives in terms of society. It's important for the individuals, like all of us, who want to live longer lives, but want to live healthy, longer lives. Of course, you've heard that line that, quite often in the last 2 years of your life, you will spend the most money on healthcare trying to stay alive. And the access to healthcare is certainly a very important issue for persons, for older persons, for senior citizens. So that is, of course, really, really important as well. In terms of activity, we have seen the concept of day centers being promoted, specific centers being set up for the purpose of creating a hub, a place for senior persons to actually go during the day when they may be home alone, where they may be, so they can have some level of community and social interaction. And I think one was in fact started back by the Honorable Stevenson King in his constituency in La Clary some years back when he was Prime Minister. And we can see that there are efforts at play in some other constituencies and communities around the island to be able to create those types of facilities. I think Soufrière, for example, is trying to create one just like that. But certainly, beyond that, the importance of spaces that are friendly to persons with disabilities, older persons, who may have accessibility issues is also very, very important. And so how we design for their mobility is something that we've got to keep in mind. It was, in fact, just today, interestingly enough, something popped up in social media, a reel which was looking at the matter of buildings in China. And, in China, of course, you're dealing with very densely populated cities. And so, of course, they build up. And in some instances, even businesses would be responsible for setting up housing for their staff. And a lot of those buildings apparently were built 10 stories, 12 stories tall, without a single elevator. And it would have been fine, perhaps, for the individuals when they were, in their 30s and 40s, to be able to actually head up onto those flights of stairs. But it became a completely different situation now, of course, when you might be 70 or 80, and you've got to go up those 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 flights of stairs. I'm sure there are lots of fit 60 and 70-year-olds out there, but it certainly is still a significant challenge, and especially, of course, for persons who may end up having challenges with their mobility. And so a thrust now to be able to retrofit many of these buildings by installing external elevators is in fact a major thrust right now across China. So we too have to think about some of these issues in terms of mobility and how easy it is for individuals of a certain age to be able to move around. And the other reality is too, it's good business because certainly in the case of tourism, and we can see that, of course, we are very highly dependent on tourism, and you're seeing that the profile of the average visitor is also quite possibly going to be increasing in age. And so therefore, that means as well that we have to be thinking about how good we are as a destination in terms of attracting seniors as well. And especially given the fact that these individuals tend to be the ones who have a lot of expendable income. They've got a lot of opportunity to go on longer vacations because they may be retired. And so therefore, it is a good idea, certainly, to be able to be thinking about that in terms of our own design as well. So, of course, the International Day for Older Persons is a very important day for us to take a note of and the implications that we have to deal with, of course, in terms of an aging society. And as we're on that matter of aging societies, we are, of course, also dealing with the issue of a demographic crisis. Because as that top of the pyramid no longer looks like a pyramid, it's getting broader and broader, and you're finding that the pyramid may very well end up becoming almost a cube, or it may very well end up becoming an inverse pyramid. And that is a very dangerous situation because it becomes unstable. And so therefore, the need to look at the issues of, yes, we want to look at the people on the top, but then how are we also planning for the people at the bottom, the people who are just being born, and how do you encourage more persons to be born? And so that issue is a really critical one right now for countries in the Caribbean. It's been an issue in Barbados for quite some time, where their population seems to have flatlined for a number of years now. And so the matter of how to tackle that is a matter that a number of countries are, in fact, looking at. What has helped many countries in the developed world has been that of immigration. And in the case of immigration, it is also a pretty challenging thing. Now, even in the United States of America, where we were hearing so much emphasis on ICE and mass deportations, it was a major campaign issue of Mr. Donald Trump pushing that whole thrust towards getting people to be able to leave the country because we don't want any undocumented immigrants. What they are in fact finding is that the mass removal of unauthorized workers or individuals in the United States is causing job losses, not just for those people. And the argument was these people are coming and taking our jobs, right? But what you're seeing now is that they're being pulled out of the workforce, and more jobs are actually being lost. And there's a very interesting clip coming out of a congressional hearing, within which this individual who's making a presentation to the U.S. Congress is actually explaining why you're not seeing this idea that, well, if you're removing the unauthorized immigrants, that should be creating new jobs for citizens, but it's not. It's actually having the reverse effect. Let's take a listen to this very interesting clip.
After mass deportations, you might expect that there are thousands of additional jobs for U.S. workers But your research doesn't really show that that happens. Can you just explain why mass deportations cause such economic harm, such job loss for U.S. workers?
Yes. So there are several reasons, one of which I think is widely understood by the American people, but the others not so well understood. The one that's well understood is people often say, oh, well, unauthorized immigrants take jobs that Americans aren't willing to do, so if you remove them, the Americans aren't going to go. Someone who lost their job in a factory in Maine is not going to go to the Central Valley of California to pick fruits and vegetables. People get that point. But there are several other, arguably even more important reasons why this is happening. One is a simple issue that we refer to as the demand side effect, which is not complicated at all. But there are about 8 million unauthorized workers in the United States. They earn hundreds of billions of dollars every year. They spend that money on food, clothing, stores, rent, et cetera, et cetera. And if you take those people out, those hundreds of billions, they're going to lose their jobs, lose their income, and that hundreds of billions of dollars of spending goes away, which means American businesses are going to sell hundreds of billions of dollars less, which means they're going to cut back on production, which means they're going to cut back on their workforces, which means American workers are also going to lose their jobs. There's a second, probably even more important issue, and that is that people seem to think that unauthorized immigrants are simply close substitutes for American workers. But that's not the way the work goes. People have been studying this now for the last 20 plus years and have found that, in fact, in most cases, unauthorized immigrants are not substitutes, but they're what we call complementary workers. They work in conjunction with other workers, not in competition with them. And what happens is if you strip out, for example, in a restaurant, the 3 or 4 workers in the back who are chopping the vegetables, cleaning the bathrooms, etc., and you can't replace them, then the American worker who may be overseeing the restaurant, who may be a waiter or waitress, they lose their jobs as well. All of you can understand that. All of you have staff. You have excellent staff. If we suddenly take away 25% of your staff, you're not going to be as productive as you are now. You're going to not do as well. So the problem is that we find that when you take out these hundreds of thousands of undocumented workers, not only do they lose their jobs, authorized immigrants often lose their jobs, and American citizens lose their jobs, usually in roughly equal numbers.
After mass deportations, you might...
Thanks for that. And of course, well, no surprise there. If you're actually taking people out of the economy, your economy is in fact going to get smaller. And we're seeing that very, very well explained there. Some of the implications of this, the actions that are being taken. And so, in fact, immigration should be our friend. And even within the context of what is going on right now in the Caribbean, many Caribbean islands are actually looking at trying to encourage immigration. So kudos thus far to the 4 islands, the 4 territories in the Caribbean who have in fact signed on to the freedom of movement efforts. And in fact, those are St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dominica, Belize, and Barbados. And that is happening effective today. And that is, of course, realizing one of the major planks of CSME, free movement of people, and what that has meant for persons who wish to move around. No more work permits or residency permits are going to be required. No more skill certificates would have to be sought. It also means, of course, equal treatment in terms of benefits applying to all nationals within those countries, and access to other services, whether like education and healthcare. So, of course, 4 countries within the Caribbean making that plunge in respect of freedom of movement, especially, of course, for Dominica and Barbados. Dominica, for a very long time, has been struggling with the matter of its population. In fact, it's one country that has seen over the number of decades a falling population, more persons leaving than, in fact, are even being born. And, of course, Barbados also struggling right now with a population crisis. St. Lucia, not too far back. Right now, According to what we're seeing in the data, 1.4. That is the fertility rate, and you need to be at about 2.1. Replacement rate is 2.1. So it does mean that, and again, from what we're seeing from the census data for 2022, that not a very large increase over the past 10 years, suggesting really that the population is pretty close to peaking, plateauing, or leveling out. And of course, that has some significantly serious implications for an island that is still developing and has a long way to go to achieve developed status. That's our dish of the day. When we come back, we'll take in our weather report.
This has been The Daily Dish.
Every bed in our hospitals tells a story of someone's mother, someone's brother, someone's friend. And when that story of care is complete, it's time for the next chapter, home. But too often, discharged patients are left waiting hours, days, weeks, sometimes months, not because they want to stay, but because no one comes. We understand life gets busy, but every extra day they wait means another patient, perhaps in pain, perhaps in crisis, can't get the bed they desperately need. So when the call comes that your loved one is ready, please be ready too. Pick them up, bring them back to the comfort of family, where healing truly continues. Because caring doesn't end at discharge, it continues with you. A message from the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs.
There is a rose in Spanish Harlem. You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you. If you like pina coladas, getting caught in the rain.
We're back on Sunday, October 5th, the night before the holiday. We're heading to the Pavilion in Rodney Bay for the Big People Party.
Big People Party.
The Sparkle and Denim Edition. Big People Party, the Sparkle and Denim Edition. It's old school, and we're turning it up. Music by Hyper D, Rusty Ranks, Shortman, Play in HD, and Sly Eli. Tickets are $60 and are available at RCI, The South, Boulevard, and Baywalk Mall. Pay more at the door. On Sunday, October 5th, it's Big People Party at the Pavilion in Rodney Bay. The night before the holiday. Lottie Dottie, see you at the party.
It's now time for our weather news, brought to you by Island Style.
Girl, I've been so stressed searching for the perfect tiles to complete my home. Really? Yeah, it's always the same white, beige, and gray tiles with the style stores. Like they're all buying from the same place. You're the design expert. Help me, please. I'm fed up. What are you looking for? Something different. Something that says Caribbean beauty and suits my personality. Something vibrant and classy with a little razzle-dazzle. Okay, Ms. Razzle Dazzle, I know just the place. Island Style Tile and Bath, they're my #1 store for everything tile. And with their new In Living Color collection, you'll find the most gorgeous styles to give you that splash of Caribbean flair you're looking for. That sounds perfect. I'll even take you myself and throw in a free design consultation. I'll never say no to that, sis. I can't afford you anyway.
Visit our Island Style showrooms in Castries, Rodney Bay, and Vieux Fort, or call 450-452 or 453 Tile. We'll help bring your vision to life in living color.
This is Radio Caribbean International. It's now time for the weather news.
And the forecast for St. Lucia valid for the next 24 hours. Winds will be blowing from between the east and southeast near 12 miles per hour or 19 kilometers per hour, becoming lighter at times. Weather partly cloudy, becoming cloudy at times with a few showers and a chance of isolated thunderstorms. Forecast for the Lesser Antilles: partly cloudy to cloudy skies with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. Your tropical weather outlook: moist, unstable conditions accompanied by light winds will cause occasional cloudiness with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms over the region during the forecast period. A tropical wave located a few hundred miles east of the Lesser Antilles is moving westward near 17 miles per hour or 28 kilometers per hour and is expected to affect our region tomorrow. A second tropical wave located over the far eastern Atlantic is moving westward near 12 miles per hour or 19 kilometers per hour. Tropical cyclone formation is not expected over the tropical Atlantic during the next 7 days. And that is your weather report, brought to you by Island Style.
This has been RCI's Weather News. For more information, call the Weather Hotline at 454-3452. RCI 101 number 1.
Girl, I've been so stressed searching for the perfect tiles to complete my home. Really? Yeah, it's always the same white, beige, and gray tiles with the style stores. Like they're all buying from the same place. You're the design expert. Help me, please. I'm fed up.
What are you looking for?
Something different. Something that says Caribbean beauty and suits my personality. Something vibrant and classy with a little razzle dazzle.
Okay, Ms. Razzle Dazzle, I know just the place. Island Style Tile and Bath, they're my #1 store for everything tile. And with their new In Living Color collection, you'll find the most gorgeous styles to give you that splash of Caribbean flair you're looking for.
That sounds perfect.
I'll even take you myself and throw in a free design consultation.
I'll never say no to that, sis. I can't afford you anyway.
Visit our Island Style showrooms in Castries, Rodney Bay, and View Fort, or call 450-452 or 453 Tile. We'll help bring your vision to life in living color.
And welcome back to the Lunchroom here at Radio Caribbean International. We're going to go to the phone lines at this time. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Lunchroom. And what's on your plate today?
Mr. George, how are you?
Very good, thank you. How are you doing?
All right, yeah. It's serious reason in there. So the people who could afford, elder people.
Well, the baby boomer generation in the U.S.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, that's what
that's what's happening there, you know.
They're the ones who have a lot of the money.
They made a conscious decision, you know, not to make children. So you know, they have a thing. They owe their societies, you know, to spend that money now to ensure that it's turn around. Because I don't know if you recall they even coined an acronym, DINKS, D-I-N-K-S.
D-I-N-K-S.
In sometime the late 70s, 80s.
Ah, okay.
Meaning double income, no kids.
No kids, yes.
You understand?
Yes.
So families, partners, married people who are having, they had 2 salaries, no kids. So they were able. These are the same people that able, because if you check between say 80 and now,
yes,
these people will be well into the 70s and in the 80s. You know, these are the people that loaded.
But
now.
even the ones who had kids are wealthier than their kids in a lot of instances.
Yeah.
Because they've because they own the properties, they've been able to.
One of the reasons why they became so wealthy is that the cost of labor was very, good.
Yes.
Because it was available.
Yes.
But things it's crucial commercial now, you know. Even in St. Lucia, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Even in St. Lucia, you know.
Yeah. No. Oh well. I mean, back in the day, you might have been able to buy a land for maybe $1 a square foot. Today, you have to go all through Zell, and you're finding land is $13-14 a square foot. So yeah, it's very challenging.
I don't like to use these derogatory terms, you know. You know the people that we refer to as, you know, these people have a problem. Some of them are drugs and so on, whatever.
Okay, all right.
We refer to them as zombies.
Uh-huh.
You've heard the term, eh?
Of course, yes.
Eh?
Yes.
Hello?
Persons who have addiction issues.
Eh?
Persons who have addiction issues.
Yes.
They're on the streets, maybe
Yeah, and you know these people usually, you know, are always guilty of petty larceny. People produce without the permission.
Right, yes.
And sell it and so on and so forth.
Yes.
In other words, you know, a very despised group of people in the society.
Yes.
You understand? Though a lot of people used to, in fact, benefit from, you know, what they're doing.
Because they will be selling things cheap and...
Yeah, because when they get the goods, whatever they get.
Yes.
You know, if you're getting a shoe that is worth how many dollars, and then you only worth maybe peanuts, you won't take it. You know, so but what is happening now, Khalid? These people now, you cannot even get them because if you need them, because there's still a need for them, you know, because they're good climbers. A lot of them are good climbers of trees and so on.
Okay.
So people with tall coconut trees and with their mango trees and so on used to call on them.
Right.
Give them a little something, you know.
Right.
To climb the trees and but now they're not even seeing. There's a shortage.
There's a shortage of zombies, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Imagine that, eh? Yeah.
Well, that's the price of economic progress, you know.
Boy, that's a serious price.
You have to, but in all honesty, though, I mean, when you think about it, in too many instances, you had some of these people being abused, you know.
The pyramid turned upside down.
But some of these people were being abused by individuals who were taking advantage of them. You you saw that as well. So
you know, they make them work for them, and they you know, sometimes they pay them in
a pittance,
cocaine,
or something like that, and
so on, and people buy stuff for them from them, and they have to bear the consequences because usually when the owner of the stuff find out, it's them take it.
Oh, it looks like we seem to have we lost that call. Unfortunately, my apologies. I'm not sure. I think the caller seemed to have dropped off. Maybe his phone battery died or something. But very interesting points though, in terms of how things are shifting right here in St. Lucia. I mean, there's of course, and you see in terms of the professions too. You have no longer do you actually have people who are shoemakers. It's a very rare trade that you have right about now. Good afternoon. Welcome to the lunchroom.
Good afternoon, Mr. George.
How are you doing, caller?
Not too bad.
Wonderful.
And you have a great topic.
Yes, indeed.
You see, in the old days, Mr. George, people used to, very few people had a refrigerator, something to keep the meat, the fish. So in the evening time, about 6, 7 o'clock, people passed shouting, "Vola, vola! Tuapukatsu, kapukatsu! Penny, you buy you free flannel fish for penny and other fish. But you can't buy too much because it's salt you have to put on it. Salt. You can't refrigerator.
Yes.
You have nothing like very few people. The people with the refrigerator was people from they went abroad and they come back with it. But I can't even pinpoint a shop that would sell you that was selling that in St. Lucia.
Right. Yeah.
You see? And salt is the enemy of us. When people eat too much salt,
right,
you get high blood pressure.
Well, I mean, people like Mr. Rex, not Rex, sorry, the Vice Chancellor of the University, Sir Hilary Beckles, has this whole theory about some of the impacts of slavery. And of course, most of the land was used for producing sugar cane, and so there's very little land for production of, say, meat and that kind of thing. And of course, they didn't want the fish. They didn't really want the slaves to go out onto the sea too much because they would escape. So the idea of having the importation of fish, salt fish,
mackerel,
right, from Canada, the salted fish. Was what the slaves would eat, and of course that point has been made that
we get a lot of our stuff from Holland as well.
Okay, all right, I didn't know that one. Yes, I knew a lot of it came out of Canada.
Holland used to give us a lot of salt mackerel and all those things.
But no surprise either way. So, so definitely I see your point, certainly. And the impact that had on how people, their health situation in the past. Even the rum too. Remember, molasses was a byproduct of sugarcane, and for a long time we didn't, what would we do with it? And then he said, hey, well, let's make a rum out of it, and we've seen the impact of rum, especially the strong rums.
People drink a lot of rum.
Yeah.
Anything is a rum.
Ironically, of course, tomorrow is no alcohol day.
They will smash your kidney.
Yes.
So a lot of people, when they're 40, they're old or they're dead already.
That's right.
See? But nowadays, even the people start thinking of what they're eating. Thinking of the diet, you see, so people living longer.
Well, we're more aware. People are more aware of the consequences. The education is clearly having an impact on people's awareness of what they eat and how they approach their diet. So it is certainly helping.
The other thing is, by thinking of what you eat and living a little longer, the pension scheme that work in England, France and Germany and those countries there, they work from the time they're 15 until they some of them is 60, some of them is 65. Like in England, it's 65. When you reach 65, they will give you a pension. You see, but the pension they will give you, that pension there, you can't live in luxury. Put something aside. Some people work, they could have put something aside. Some people have 5, 6 children.
Right.
You cannot put money aside when you have all those children to look after.
Well, that's the same point that the last caller was making, that those who did not have children are benefiting today. They're living the life.
Well, so,
caller,
I remember when I went to England, I started working, and by the time I had to work 65 years before I pensioned.
Right.
Women 60, men 65. And at that time, they bring another scheme that men could work up to 70.
Okay, well, there you go.
See, because people living longer,
yes, and
the pension scheme don't have enough money to keep paying people the pension.
That's right, yeah.
So they want you to make it compulsory, you work up to 70. Yeah, but the old days when you done gone.
Yeah. Caller, we're going to have to end it here, unfortunately, because we are way over time.
Okay.
So my apologies to that.
But
we'll have to take it up again, certainly.
Okay,
certainly.
Then.
Thanks so very, very much for your call. And, of course, to all those who've been listening, the caller, and we thank you very much for your interventions. And, of course, we do wish everybody a very happy International Day for Older Persons, and do have yourself a wonderful Wednesday. I'm your host, Alex George Jr., saying goodbye.